everyone, this is Pranava. In today's video we'll be solving another room from TryHackMe. It's called as Lookup, right? Wow, that's nice. So I have already solved this particular room, and without any further ado, let's dive in. So first off, before we actually start talking, let me come here ahead and click on Start Machine. So by the time it's 1 minute, we can get our IP address too. Okay, so waiting for this IP address. So it says lookup, test your enumeration skills on this boot to root machine. Okay, and it's a quite big a description, which I'm not going to be reading. It's just going to say that I mean it's good for people who are aspiring to learn something from cybersecurity, and this CTF is a big help for them and all those things. Again, I want to say thank you to TryHackMe and the creator of this room. Okay, so again, this video is not sponsored, but TryHackMe, if you would like to sponsor, you know where to reach me out. Okay, so I've already solved this room. So if there are any places where you feel it's quite little, I'm going a little fast, or you need some help through, you can always comment down below in my YouTube. I will be able to reach to you out. Okay, and also if you want to follow along this particular room, I have a blog post in my pranava.tech website where you can follow along. The link is down there in the description below. You can click that and follow along with me with this video. Okay, first off, let's connect to our their VPN network. So sudo open VPN, and that is stored in my folder. Okay, so it is connected. It says initialization sequence completed, which means we're connected to the network. So let me make this window down, minimize that window, and we have already also got our IP address of our target system. Let's add an R. Hopefully we don't need this much of time, but just in case, I don't want to spoil the flow of the work through. Okay, so yeah, let me also parallelly making notes here. I will open up text editor. So I'll paste in the IP address. Let me zoom in this. Okay. Okay. This is the place where I just need to do some editing and all those things. I want to with the commands or something, I can work through it. I already made my notes, so I don't need it. I will go with the flow. Okay, let me open up my terminal. And first off, let's make sure we are able to communicate with the target system. So let me ping with just 5 requests and the IP address there. So I see a response coming back, which means that the host is alive, the target is alive, and we are able to talk to it. Okay, let's clear that out. And let me go to my TryHackMe folder, which is there, which I have created. And let me create a folder called as Lookup YouTube and CD Lookup. Okay, so yeah. So this is the place where if I want to do some dumps and all those things, I have it stored. Okay, so let me first perform an nmap scan. Clear my window. Sudo nmap -sc -sv verbos, and then let me save all the output here. So lookup dot nmap and then my IP address. So what I'm doing here is I'm running a script scan, which is going to be running the default scripts, which is there in nmap, and then -sv is going to say that let it also look for the version numbers of the services which are open in uh, uh, the target system, and also it's go -vv the verbose output, and -o is going to be saving all the output of this nmap scan into a folder or into a file called as lookup.nmap, and other file extensions, whatever it's going to add, it's going to. So this is the IP address, and we see the output which has come to be port 22 and port 80. So port 22, usually we don't try to enumerate first off in the challenge, because a port 22 requires username and password, because it's a SSH service which is running in the system. Other than that, we have port 80, which is a web application. Web application is something that First, we would like to dive in. Okay, so for web application, let's assign a domain name to it, for which let's also edit our etc host file. So etc host sudo nano etc host. Okay, and you can see these things which I had, which was from the previous test which I was doing before I solved this particular room. So while I was solving, I had made that, so it stayed up in this itself. So I have added the IP address and I'm going to be assigning the domain name as lookup.thm, which is good for this challenge. And then let me press on Control X, Y, and enter, which is going to save the file. Now let's browse this. So I'll open up a new window and say http lookup.thm. So it has opened up a login page to us. Now, first thing that if I get a login page, that's not what I want to enumerate. So looking at the source code here, all that I see is nothing but the login page itself. No redirections or some other links or some other sensitive files to be here. Nothing is there other than the login.php file, which is nothing but the PHP script for this login page. Okay, so nothing curious there too. So what we'll do is let's do some fuzzing for this application. Let me clear up my window. Okay, here let me specify. Let's do some fuzzing with puff. So puff word list, which I'm going to be specifying, okay, is from seclist. So tools, fuzzing list, seclist, discovery, web content, draft, medium, files, yeah, files.txt, and let me specify my target. So http lookup.thm, and then let it fuzz for some files for it. So after the domain name, it's going to be fuzzing for some files. So let me specify it as that, and then press enter. So first off, we see index.php and then login.php and all those things. But the curious thing about this challenge is that we don't see any other files to be present or any other interesting files that we can actually access into and look into and then try to enumerate. We don't find that in this challenge. I can let it run for all the 17,129 of list of files in it. But again, since I've already solved this challenge, you will not get any output from this. So let me just kill that out. What about folders? Are there any sensitive folders which we can look into? Unfortunately, no. So medium directories.txt for the same thing. I press enter. That too, it's going to be just running just like that, and we'll not be able to see any folders, sensitive folders that we can enumerate into. Again, I'm just going to let one more thousand of files just go through, and then I'm going to fill that in. Yeah. So we still don't find any folders in it. What about subdomains, right? So puff, the same thing. I'll just modify it here. Discovery instead of web content, we say DNS. Okay, and then subdomains. Top 1 million and this number. Okay, so I specify -u. I don't want the fuzzing here. Then -h. H I guess is for header, and then I want to look at that. What is it exactly called? So host, then fuzz sub.th. So I will let this tool run for fuzzing in for any virtual host here. This domain lookup.thm. But the thing is that I've already solved this particular room. I know that you'll not find any output also from this. So we are left with the login page. Now, the thing why I say, I mean, in a very bad tone is because login page, I need to find for some username and password now, right? Which I have clearly no idea about. So what I can do now is that do some normal scanning, like if I do ABCD and ABCD, just to understand how this web application is work, how this login page is going to behave. So if I press enter and look into it, all that it says is wrong username or password, please try again, and then it's just going to redirect me back to this login page again. With some other SQL payloads like this single tick, and if I press enter, it just says wrong username or password, and then same story. Even with the or one equal to one payloads, we're trying to comment it and all those things with a random password. Still, it did not work. I even tried with Burp Suite. I can show it to you. So let me fire up my Burp Suite. Meanwhile, let me. One thing if I miss that, but it stays down here. Oh, yeah. So let me open up my settings while Burp Suite is booting up. Settings, and then say manual proxy configuration. Okay. Burp Suite here. Next, Burp Suite. Start Burp. Okay, so proxy, under proxy, let me turn on the intercept and say ABCD and pass it. Here, let me pass this to the repeater, then turn off the intercept. The repeater, if I come here and then send the response, I am sending the response from control and spacebar. It says 200 OK, and it says wrong username and password itself. Now, after a bit of fuzzing and manually looking at through the pages and all those things, what I noticed is that when I specify the username field as admin, okay, and then pass in, I will see that I have got the content length to be 62 and it says wrong password, but not like wrong username or password. Now, if I, for example, if I come here and modify this to be hacker or any other username in other than the admin one, it just says wrong username or password. So it's a huge confirmation that I have a user called as admin in my page, right? So good. All I have to do is now find the password for the admin user. I tried with all the SQL queries or payloads, try to get some errors here or try to say or one equal to one and then try to comment all those things with hashtag or all these things. Nothing worked for unfortunately. So we are left with brute forcing for this password. Now, one thing that I can do is I can go to intruder and then try to brute force for the password. But since I'm using a community edition in this virtual machine, it has some restrictions with it. What I'll do is let me run it through Hydra. Okay, Hydra is another powerful tool which does all this brute forcing. Let me clear up my window. So sudo -l and let me specify my username that I want to be using. So I'll be specifying it as admin. Then P, which is going to be the list of password files. So which is present in my folder. On. No more arguments. Oh, sorry. So sudo Hydra and the switches. So Pranava tools, fuzzing list, and then let me specify rocku.txt. So it's a file which has some millions of passwords stored in it. So password file. Then let me also specify the target that I am interested in. So lookup.thm, http post, and then form, I guess. Yeah. So that's one, the module in Hydra, which I'm going to be using for posting in the contents, whatever I want it to be. So the contents, what I want to be posting is into the login page. So login.php. Then I want to specify the username. Username is equal to the user, what is there. Then, and the password is pass. Okay. So basically, you can this format is the one which is already there in Burp Suite. I forgot to mention. So I'm posting it to the login.php file. So that is what is here, and username is just like having this command, but instead of the admin or something like that passing in, I'm saying it's a user what is here, and then password is what will be from the text file. And another parameter what I want to give is I don't want it to be showing me all the output what is there. I want anything which if it is has the common thing as the wrong password, I don't want that to be seen in my page. So I'll say wrong password. I did the IP address comment. Copy this, yeah. Wrong password. So if the output of this scan is wrong password, let it not show it to me. I want something any other than the wrong password to display. So let me press enter. That should start it. It gave me so much of output which I was not expecting. Honestly, so what is wrong here? So this is the thing. Okay, so it has done its scanning. Let me also add a verbose to it. So hyphen I, and V. We also put some threading, so make it little fast. So maximum threading that can happen with Hydra is 64. I've specified as 50, so that should be good. And so it is trying to brute force for the admin for the passwords from the rocky.txt file. It should not take a little long because the password was pretty easy. I am now getting worried if the payload is right. Yo, yeah, we got the password. So Hydra has cracked in the password for this user admin be this. Now the interesting thing, I thought this is the Eureka moment. I just went directly to the login page. I said admin and then entered the password here. Okay, so okay, so if you look at the error exactly now, come here and then let me specify that password. The reason what Hydra thought is that why it specified this could be the password is that it's giving a different output. It says wrong username or password instead of whatever we had before. Now, if I change this to ABCD, it just said wrong password. But now with this new password, what we found, it says wrong username or password, which means that the username is also wrong in this case, but this password is valid. So now it was interesting for me that I thought when I specified as admin, it's trying to also look into what users are present in it. Now it's also validating what kind of passwords are there in the database, which is interesting. Now this password is valid. I need to find a username to this password. What I can do is I'll run Hydra itself for that. But this time, instead of specifying it to be from the rocky.txt file, I'm just going to directly give in the password to it. Also, make sure that from capital P, you also make it a small p because that's different way or the different switches that you use in Hydra for password. And for the username, I want to brute force it. So hyphen L, capital L. Then there's another word list from the sec list itself. So let me use that. Sec list usernames. Then there is this one, Maxtor, whatever that is. But this time I don't want it to say that a wrong password. Let me say, and it give me the output other than which has wrong username or password. Let me copy that and then paste it here. Yeah, threading is good. Oh, I don't want the verbose, so because it's going to give me a lot of names directly. You know what? I'm afraid. Let it also do this. Let it give me as soon as it finds the username. Because I don't know if it will automatically stop for username. So as soon as it finds some pretty match, it's going to stop. So that's why I specified as -f, and it has found. So we got a new user now. Now for the user Josh, the passwords seem to be valid. Let's first go to our Burp Suite here and then try to access with that user, and then let's see what is going to be the response of it. And it says 302 found, and it's a different thing altogether what is happening. So which means we have found the right username and password combination for this page. So Josh, and then password, the one what we found. Come on, that's strange. I guess I entered the wrong password. No, username. Now it says error because it says files lookup.thm. I don't know why this is very strange. Is because for sure, while with Puff that tool and with those lists, for sure there would be the file called as files dot. Okay, so I don't know. It should have found out, but it did not. For some reason. Okay, now let's edit our etc host file. So nano etc host, and then also add this content in files of files dot lookup.thm, exit, enter, and now refreshing this might show us the page. Come on, come on. Is it because Burp Suite is doing this? Sometimes Burp Suite is a little tricky because I've added all those SSL certificates, all those things. So uh, background errors might. Yeah, it was Burp. See, I got it. Burp Suite, please, something to it. Okay, so we get a files page in here. Now with this files page, it is, I guess it's a list of some contents in here. I can see admin.txt and all those usernames and all those. But there was nothing useful from this. I also saw from one more from users.txt, I guess. Not this one. True.txt. So that was place where I thought I actually found the username and password combination, but then it was okay. Now ELF Finder, EL Finder is one tool which is useful for accessing files in the web application. Now that's what is we are able to see here. Now what I did was to identify is there any vulnerability in this application or not. So all that I did is to go here and then look at the file name, which is this, and then I just did a simple Google search, which is ELF Finder, and with a version name of it. Version number, not name. Yeah, they've specified number there. So 2.1.47. I press enter. On top itself, we find command injection vulnerabilities. So we also see it from the exploit.database. And this is the document describing the detailed version, what exactly is the error, how the code is, and all those things, which I will not get into it. But the to get a pretty idea about what exactly the vulnerabilities there in this, that while you're uploading files to this application, it has some error in the name how it's going to be managing it while downloading it. So it is just exploiting that. You don't have to worry about it. You can go through it if you want, but I've not dug deep. I just understood how I need to solve this, and I have done it. So in exploit database, you can see the payload and the code for this. Now the thing how you can see if this site is vulnerable or not is that you can browse this file or this folder, not that one. this one itself, okay. Text signal itself. So if this file is being accessible or something, which it makes sure that, I mean, it's indication that the application is vulnerable or something like that. I'm not sure. I just thought it is like that. Help finder. Okay, so something is wrong with it. Okay. Some kind, I mean, it'll do the magic. Why should I worry? So all that I need to do for this is to download this executable file. I will name it as exploit.py, and I also need to have an image, and that image should be specified as sexsignal.jpg itself. So let me come up to Google, browse for some images here. Yeah, some random image, and then save image as. I'll rename it to this itself and then click on save. So that is it. And the other thing for this is that we need to have a Python 2.7 to be installed in our system. Lucky for us, we do have that in our Kali Linux. So let me go to my downloads folder. And in here, I can see the two files, which is explore.py and then textsignal.jpg. Now let me run this tool. So Python 2.7 exploit.py. I need to specify my URLs. Copy this, paste it in here, and change all this. That's it. Press enter. It does its magic of getting us a shell into it. That's nice. Now I can say who am I, or I can say ID and all those things. But this is a very not interesting kind of a shell that we have got, so we can upgrade it with ref shell. What I did is I come here. Let's change the IP address. So 10.17.0.180. Let me say 1234 as my port number that I want to connect to. And for some reason, it gave me only shell from one specific this one, yeah, this kind of payload. And also it had to be URL encoded. So I've made sure it's URL encoded. You can do it from here. Let's copy the shell, paste it in here. Before we press enter, let me open up another terminal. Let me open up a side-by-side terminal. I'll zoom both of them here. Then let me set up a listener. So nc-lvnp 1234. That's listening. Press enter. And we got a shell. That's good. But still, again, this is not a very interesting shell because if I press upper arrow key and all those things, it's going to give an error or that thing. So let's upgrade to a better one. So we can do it through Python 3 that's installed in this target system. It is so Python 3 -c import pty, then pty.spawn bin bash. Okay, so yeah, so this should give us bin and bash. Let me press Ctrl Z, then stty raw echo and foreground this. So it has upgraded our shell to a better one. Yes, you can see. Good. So we have got a shell right now, and the interesting locations that we need to go is the cd home directory. And if you look at it here, we see a new user called as think, which we had no idea about initially. So going to the think users directories and listing out the contents here, we see users.txt. Now I thought, wow, amazing. So this challenge is pretty easy now. So when I did cat user.txt, permission denied. So that's a bad thing. And interestingly, I also see a file called as passwords.txt, which is not by default in any of the folders. Now, if you come here and if I go to my home directory and then clear my terminal, let's say lsla, nowhere you will be able to see anything called as password.txt or passwords. Okay, so it's something which was designed for this challenge itself. So I was curious. I thought I might get list of passwords for the users, and I did cat passwords. Okay, it says permission denied. I mean, I could have seen it from here itself that I don't have access to it, but still. So that's where we need to go in now. Now, after a bit of manual digging out and all those things, which I will not do, but we can. I'll just showcase it here. So. Uh, I will say 4,000, and then let me put all the other dump data into F null. Okay. So, okay. So yeah. Now you can see a lot of interesting files here. Okay. If you're not understanding, it's okay. You can just Google out what this command is. You can understand it. But the interesting thing that we see here is that we see this file. So users has been and PWM. So that's not a default file in any of the Linux file system. I thought it's an interesting file, and then again I'll not get deep into what exactly and how exactly I found out and all those things. So if I run this tool, it says running ID command to extract the username and user ID, and it says user ID is this, and it's trying to access this file. Now, interestingly, for this user www-data, there is no home directory. So, if I go back to directory less, and then if I list out all the directories that is present, I don't see the www-data, but also I don't see any files called as dot passwords in it, right? But only the thing user has. Now, the way how this tool is working is that it's using the command ID, and then it's trying to fetch out these informations like the username, what is there, and the UUID, I guess, or this parameters and all those things. Now, all that I have to do is that somehow change this part to think. Instead of right now me having www-data, if it is think, it's going to print out whatever content is there in the passwords.txt file, or that passwords file, not passwords.txt. So how do I do it? Right, one workaround is that I create my own ID tool or ID command instead of using the one which I'm currently doing, because now in Linux everything is a file. So even the command, whatever I'm using, the ID is a file somewhere stored in the file system, and it is being accessed. Now you can see that from the path command. So if I do echo path, which is by default there in all the systems, it says it's using an sbin file for accessing all the contents for these commands and all those things. So I thought, let me modify this itself. So what we'll do is, let's go to the temp directory. Okay, so temp, and then let me create a file called as id. Now inside this file id, I want to have a very specific command inside it. So first thing, let me copy this one, and let's say echo. This will be saved into id so that I don't have to specify it later. I'll say again echo this thing, but here let me do a modification of making it think. And if I press enter, that has saved it into the id file. So if I say cat id, and then if I look at the contents of it, it says echo and id is this. I can even modify this thing. So let me do it through nano id unknown. Okay, is Vim there? Yeah, I'm having Vim. So let me also change the UUID to UID 2000, just so that it thinks that I'm also the root of it, just for some reason. 1000 and then exit from this editor. Okay, you don't have to edit again while entering itself. If you make sure it's 1000, that's fine. Now, okay, I want to say, I want to modify this program to be an executable. So chmod plus the xid is going to make it executable. And now when I run this id command, okay, it says, okay, let's just gives me some error. It's because it's not able to read it. That's fine. What I will do is let me change the path. Okay, so let me say export the path, whatever is there by default. I want to modify it, saying that use the temp directory first, and then whatever is there in this path variable, you just use that itself. So I'm changing the path variable of the system to first look at my temporary directory and then go to the other paths of it. Press enter, and now if I run the id command, it still says error. Why is that? Or there should have not been any error in it. Let me go echo to another echo to the id. So yeah, now some issue had happened. I just said okay. So now whenever I'm typing the id command, it's saying that I'm think. So that's because if I echo the path variable, what is there, you can see here that the temp is being specified, which means that first it's going to look at for any commands which is present inside the id and inside the temp folder, and then it's going to go for the default locations for finding of any commands. So it's just the way how system behaves. Now when I run this command, the one here, copied, paste it here, reading username from id command, or not from id command. What is wrong? Oh, it has also id in it. Let's change that. So okay, so that says it's right. Okay, have I messed it up while copying from here? That says okay. Let's see. Yeah, we got the passwords. So these are all the passwords which was stored there inside the passwords file in the home directory of think user. Let's use this on that. Okay, copied this password. Let's come to my home directory inside where I was previously here, right? Okay, so let me create a file called as password.txt. Then paste this all the passwords. Now my idea is that I've got a list of these passwords. One of these passwords could be the password of the think user what is present in the system. Let's brute force for that. Now we have so many passwords, so brute forcing would be just running through the Hydra. Hydra is another, again, I'm using Hydra. It's a very powerful tool for all these things. So sudo Hydra, and then let me specify L to be think, the username. Then the password is passwords.txt file, lookup.thm. Then all that I have to specify is SSH. So it's just a module that I'm using for this. Pressing enter. Come on, come on, come on, come on. This should be a little fast. Yeah, and we get the password also. So now let's log in with SSH. Copy the password. So SSH think at lookup.thm. Yes, then password. And we're logged in as the think user. That's nice. So clear. Now if I look at the files that is present, so I'll see I have users.txt file. Again, I'm not going to be disclosing the flag here, right? So it has 33 characters in it. You can go through it. Now the interesting thing that we need to do now is become the root, right? So for the root, if I do sudo -l here, I'm going to ask for the password. I specify that. It says that the tool or the command look has no privileges required for running sudo in it. So good. How I can run this tool is say sudo look and then double quotes and whatever file I want to look into. I can say root and then root.txt, but which I'm not going to be doing it right now. I can showcase it with .ssh id rsa if it is present. See, I'm able to look at the contents of the file. So it's just going to print out all the content which is present inside the file. In this similar manner, you can even look at the root text of this user, or else you can even copy this ID RSA and then log in as root itself into the box and then also capture the flag of it. So then that is it. We have solved this easy challenge. Again, I said no, it's going to be quite easy and it's not going to take us so much time. It was easy. I loved it. In fact, I had even told that in the Discord server saying that I'm loving this challenge. Yeah. So that is it for this today's video. If you did like this video, please click on that like button. And if you want to share this video to someone that you think that might be feeling interested about cybersecurity, please you can do that. And it's a small, and one more thing, which is a small thing, but is a big thing for me, which is that subscribe button. If you're not subscribed yet, click on that subscribe button. That really helps me motivated to come up and show up and record these videos and all those things. So yeah, hack YouTube's algorithm by liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. That's the only ethical way how you can share hack YouTube, which is to actually hack its algorithm. If not, you might end up with the silver bracelets in your hand, which I recommend no one to have. Other than that, that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you do have any questions or queries, you can comment down below. Anywhere, any improvements or any suggestions, I'm always there for you. Okay then, thank you. Bye bye.